All right, the meeting has been started, so you should be able to join. All right, I will call this meeting to order. Attendance is being taken electronically. This meeting of the Ripon Area School District Board of Education has been properly noticed in accordance with the open meeting law and state statute 19.84 and related legal references. Our district vision: one of Wisconsin's finest school districts, fostering excellence for all through innovation. No comments.
No comments, and nobody signed up to speak.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to adjust the agenda tonight? Nobody? Speak loudly if you're online, because otherwise we'll forget to think about that. We will adopt the agenda as presented, which takes us to announcements of contributions to the district.
We have the following contributions. SSM Health donated $4,000 to apply to negative student meal balances. Condon Oil Company donated just under $1,000 from their Shell donation pumps for the Ripon High School Athletics Department. And Cliff's Tire and Battery, Polish Construction, Modern Overhead Door, Dietrich Insurance, and Bison's, Hillside Dental, Metro Electric LLC, Pinnacle Plumbing, all donated their final $2,000 payment of a $10,000 pledge for the Ingalls Field Group. And Coleman, MPD Builders, Quality Plumbing LLC, and Alliance Laundry Systems donated $1,000 of their final payment for a $5,000 pledge for the Ingalls Field Group. Fortified Bank donated the $2,500 for a $20,000 pledge to the Ingalls Field Group, and Northern Express Bus Service made a $500 payment for a $3,000 pledge. So thankful for all of those donations, and we certainly, especially the ones for Ingalls Field, make a significant difference in being able to keep up and maintain the field.
Your turn.
There was obviously winter break, and then we had finals this past week. So today and tomorrow we have off due to the semester change. So that'll be exciting to have another semester. And then the math team placed first at a small school division that was held in Lena, so that's cool. I think both the basketball teams are having an up in their season, so that's also good. And then I know student council is planning for the winter dance, which will probably be early February. I know FDLA is also preparing for regionals, which is February 1st. So I think it's all things to look forward to. There's not too much because we've been out of school for half the month, but still.
What new classes do you have coming up that you're excited for?
I have 2 college classes, just gen eds, and then I have algebra or trig pre-calc and I know of them, but kind of enjoying the 2-day break, I guess.
I hear you. You'll know on them.
Right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you very
John.
much.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll go to action items. The first one is to consider acceptance of Quest Elementary Charter School's request to not renew the 5-year charter agreement which sunsets at the end of this school year. Is there a motion to put it on the floor? All right. Discussion.
I have a question. I read everything and it talked about, what the parents' concerns were. And it mentioned something about PBL and I don't know what is that?
Project-based learning.
Oh, duh, okay, got it.
Okay.
That's why for question, I know that.
Quest is really the longest running charter.
It was
that I
the first
Is
remember.
it? Okay.
I remember when we first got the grant, just 15 years.
Oh,
So I think it's really did a lot of positive things, and I see Murray Park is really, they're very close now in how they, like the results are, at least what I'm seeing, so I think that's all positive.
Right, if you're ready to vote, should be able to. Is Kelly here?
Kelly is
Kelly's
online.
online?
Sharon Kelly Ponce.
There we go.
And then Jesse Johnson.
Oh,
All right, so with one absent, unanimously accept the request to not renew. Second item, to consider approval of one grade 3-5 Murray Park Elementary School in Ripon, beginning with the 2026 school year under the current Legacy School State Identification Number. That's just bringing things back together again and how it's going to be done officially. Is there a motion for that?
so motion.
a second.
Any discussion?
Jesse Johnson is on virtually with us, if you have any questions, but I know we were able to talk about that for last week.
So, with no questions, I'll call for the vote.
Jesse, thank you for all the work you put into this.
Thank you.
And that passes unanimously as well. Consider approval of Fund 46 project batting cages. Is there a motion to put that on the floor?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Tom. Second.
Second, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. How's your knee doing?
Coming along,
Good.
moving along. It's elevated in ice right now at the moment.
Okay. All right. Any discussion about the batting cages? I know we talked about them last month. Anything that's occurred to anybody or questions that you have?
I just have a curiosity question. It mentioned that the new coach was able to raise $10,000, I think it said. What source is the company fundraise all of that?
Anybody have any idea?
I know who he is and who he's doing it, but I don't know how he did it.
That's just a very impressive fundraising number.
We can definitely get the information. Get it to you.
I'm just curious.
Coach? Softball.
Oh, softball, who's the softball coach?
Bob Bruce.
Okay.
I worked with his wife.
Oh, okay.
You know, he's done a lot for that program, just before.
That's
he
great.
became a coach.
It will be shared between baseball and softball, correct? I mean, I know I read that the other ones were, yeah. That's good.
Well, it's two cages.
Two new ones.
Yeah, two new ones
And
and
then
then,
there'll still be the old one.
Yep.
Yeah. Those-
that's great.
I didn't realize they really had that.
Well, they do try to get outside as soon as they can.
Well,
Sure.
All right, I'll call for the vote on that. And it passes unanimously. Consider approval of support staff handbook changes. Motion, please.
I'll motion to accept, to approve.
Thank you, Denise. Is there a second? Okay,
Second. I do have a question.
So go ahead.
I'm just curious about the background information rationale for taking the wages out of the employee handbook, the ones that they referred to.
Is
The,
that the,
So one word.
The custodians?
The custodian and support staff, right? They had the two,
yeah, for the custodians, it was, there were people grandfathered in underneath that, so it doesn't apply to anyone that's in the handbook.
okay,
There's very few that are actually on that as they come in to do ACAS subbing, so it actually creates more confusion having it in than it does just having it
Okay.
clean now. But we left it in when we still had people that were presently working under that salary schedule, so that was the main reason for the change.
thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
I don't know, if you want me to see it.
I do have an answer, I just sent a text message, local business connections and student funders. For the banning, which is very fun.
That's nice.
Did you mentioned slow learners before?
Not today, but I have in the past.
Well, I can talk to you about this, about slow learning, 44 pages.
Okay, we're not able to take anyone
Not-
from the
not-
audience during the
Not
meeting.
now, but
Thank you.
Late, after the meeting, I'd be happy to talk to you.
So we have a motion and a second, with no further discussion. Call for the vote. You don't have a button, you might have to rejoin.
Okay,
I blame it on the cold, but it happens no matter. And so this one passes unanimously with one abstention and one absent. So first reading for bylaw and policy revisions from Yola. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve, Gary.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second. Go ahead, Katie.
All right, so we talked about these last month again. These were fairly standard. There wasn't anything that I can remember. Denise?
no, it was more technical.
Technical changes mostly, but a level above what we just approved as technical changes. So, any discussion? Again, there are multiple, right? It has to be passed twice, so if you do look and find something, there is another opportunity to bring it forward. Call for the vote. And we'll pass the first reading. And so now we have second set, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second.
discussion? And the vote? And these also passed the first reading. And we have another set. Motion to approve. Second.
Second.
Josh. Now call for the vote. And they pass as well. are set. Motion to approve. Realize we don't do these all at one time because when we stick them all in, then the buttons don't show up and you can't vote. So that's why I think you're wondering why we're going to split it into 4 groups or more. That's it, 4 groups?
There were a lot of them though.
Okay. So I'll take a motion to approve.
So we learned that the hard way in the past.
Yes.
Josh just moved to, sorry.
Motion to approve, Tom?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Josh? You may vote. Those are approved for the first reading. And I'll take another motion.
Motion to approve.
Now, second.
I'll second.
You may vote.
That was just Jesse.
As long as it wasn't Gary, his vote hasn't come in.
He's still on.
I think it's Gary, I don't know.
Oh, yep, it is.
Ah, his vote just came in though, so passes.
That's all that matters, right?
All right, so moving on to something new. Consider approval of limits to open enrollment seats for 2025-2026. Is there a motion to approve the suggested open enrollment seats?
I'll make a motion to approve. Oh, sorry, I can second.
Tom, and then Denise.
I do have a question.
Go ahead and ask it.
So, I'm happy to see, I have a comment on the question, I'm happy to see that we're opening up quite a few more seats. My question is related to middle school. The 6th grade currently has 117. Proposal is to add 5, so that would bring our, average up to over 24. So would that be something we consider another section at, or do we have a threshold that?
We may have, we're following just the board practice and always allow it for 5 seats, it doesn't mean that we don't let it come in, but at least to encourage, the board's way of looking at it is that it would encourage families to at least apply, so we know how many there were, and then we could decide if there were more than that, we could either accept more at another section. But we have to have the seats there for the teachers.
For a little bit of history, what we used to do was look at the number of available seats and cut it in half. And then we felt that we actually had more room than that most of the time. And so it made more sense to do this.
Yeah, I think it's good, I just didn't know that.
Yeah, and sometimes kids do love over some, it takes room from them, but yeah, we always have to watch that.
Any other discussion? All right, call for the vote. And it's approved unanimously. And you will, by the way, notice that in special education, we almost never have open seats. Consent agenda, is there any item that anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda for discussion? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda as it stands. Second?
Second.
Tom? And you may vote. And consent agenda is approved. Possible upcoming action items. First one is the bookkeeper job description. Any comments or questions about the bookkeeper job description? So if you think of anything, again, we're not voting on it tonight, so you can bring it up and ask some questions. Superintendent reports.
I think legislative updates, probably the biggest thing is just conversations about ending the Department of Education at the federal level and the impacts that that might have under funding and any other items. So I'm headed off to education convention the next 3 days, and so I look forward to updates. All the attorneys that work for school districts are there, and it's a great opportunity to mingle with them and we're right on the clock, so it's really nice to be able to just talk and get some answers to questions. And then the other thing that we're kind of looking at is any changes with Title IX. There's been just some regulations, and we're just trying to see how that will impact us. The guidance that we're getting right now is that the updates that we made most recently to Title IX that would apply to any cases that came forward from August moving forward, that those changes will be gone, and we should go back to what we had in the 2020 approval. So likely that policy will come back to our policy committee, because there was language regarding any students who are pregnant and a part of our student body, as well as something with disability that we may want to put into our 2020 policy. It doesn't change the procedure, the process of education. Those are some of those changes. So I think it's with the policy committee looking at those. And so I didn't bring it back this time because the law covers us until we make those changes officially. But that'll be coming.
So just a quick report, an update on the superintendent search process. So last week we chose the search firm, HYA, which is a national search firm. But the two people who will be working with us, Mike Ritchie and Scott Winch, are both local Wisconsin people. We will meet to do the planning session with them on February 3rd. Do we schedule at 5:30 start? 5:30 start. And do about an hour. That part will take about an hour and a half, they suggested. We have one item that we I will be talking about the entire schedule, nailing down the schedule of what we're going to do and make sure we understand the processes before they get started with the interviews of board members and then the focus groups. We'll have, one of the things we'll decide there is what focus groups we want them to actually spend time with in town. We're getting the posting is going up today or tomorrow. I can't remember which. You should all have, I think you should all gotten an email that gets you into the portal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. I did stick one thing. They preferred to have a salary range in the posting, and we had not talked about it. And so they gave me three choices. One was just not put it in there at all, one was to put it in tentatively, and one was to put it in. And so I chose to put in a tentative one, which is in line with what Wapaka had. And Wapaka is only slightly bigger than we are, and they just finished their search or are finishing up right now. So it's gone in the original posting as tentative, and we can talk about that on February 3rd to nail it down, what we want to put in as a salary range.
I think they said, David, that they were taking it to the convention as well.
Yes, they're going to, they have a booth at the convention, and it will, in one form or another, it was going to be up there, but now it should be the posting is up there.
And the posting is actually up. I just looked on the WASTA site, and the posting is up.
Good.
So it's really good timing with the convention.
And I think that's the big thing. So for everybody else that not on the board. I think we've hit the timing about right. It was about when we did it last time, 12 years ago. We're a little bit behind some people. Alpaca is just finishing their search. But we're right in line with where we should get maximum response to the ad.
That's great.
And they are still confident that we will get a qualified pool, a good pool. They're not saying how big it will be, but they think we'll get a good pool.
Do most sitting superintendents go to that, Mary?
Many do.
Okay.
But
That's
I had
nice.
at least 2 people reach out to me just inquiring about the positions.
Nice.
That's exciting. So hopefully I will have others have
Sure.
information that will reach out to talk about the districts.
So I think that's one thing that makes this time really, really good.
Yeah.
All the education people are going to be together. So, any other questions anybody has about where we are with the superintendent search? All right. Highlights, curriculum department highlights for January. Any comments or questions about them? Deal with them as best we can. Go ahead.
Does anybody know when registration for summer school usually goes out?
April.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
just curious.
End of April.
Okay.
It's pretty close to summer, if I remember, like with my kiddos.
Okay, out of curiosity, I was just wondering.
Yeah, as I remember, it's, we approved everything the last time, at the board meeting. And quickly getting it all out.
Mm-hmm.
Questions about the general fund interim budget report? Go ahead.
I just wanted to come talk for just a minute. We talked in the admin team about just kind of verbalizing some of the things that I've tried to make note of in some of the updates. And it's just related to mostly the ESSER funds that we're losing and, you know, kind of the planning that's underway to plan out how we're going to balance next year's budget without $535,000 from that grant. We do have, we're working on a plan. We'll bring it to the board. It does obviously include staffing because we're talking about large dollar amounts. ESSER was $535,000. And then just looking at what we need to increase compensation costs to give some inflationary increases like we do every year. You know, that's more than $380,000 as well. So just kind of alerting the board to that. You know, we are, as an admin team, talking about what needs to happen, and we'll bring, you know, more changes to you guys and plans as we get closer to April, when we have to do layoff notices. February 1st is a deadline for retirements, and so we hope that will maybe give us some clarity as well for planning. So just wanted to
We've
verbalize
been
that.
very successful in the past, anytime that we've reduced positions in an area or multiple areas that we've been able to move people around and retain all of our staff, so.
This time, part of our problem was the ESSER funds got used for interventions mostly. But they were aware when they were hired that we would do our best for them, but that there were no guarantees.
Also with the open enrollment, is there a date, I can't remember, like, for open enrollment where people have to indicate that they would come to the district? Will that align with this budget?
Doesn't always nicely, especially because even though we know how many have applied, there's time when we then let them know that they've been accepted, but then there's another window of time before they have to tell us if they actually take that spot. So it's a little bit of a process that kind of goes towards the end of the year.
Okay, so not nicely.
Not as nicely as we would like, but as Mary said, a lot of times, you know, we're able to retain our staff because other staff are resigning or retiring, and so then they're able to maybe shift positions and we can keep everybody who wants to stay in Ripon usually. So we're optimistic we can do that. Open enrollment window, I believe, closes like April 30th, I want to say, and the first open enrollment window, but there's all kinds of changes that happen. Alternative open enrollment starts July 1st, and so we get, we've been getting a bunch of new students for second semester with open enrollment, so.
For the last 2 to 3 years, resignations come in at all different times. How many resignations have we been getting in the late spring? Or later?
To me, it seems like a lot.
It's a bigger source of people leaving than retirements, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And the retirements will come in by February 1st, but all those other changes won't come in until much later,
They can come in any time.
all the way into
See,
the summer.
yeah.
That kind of segues into my question. I know we cover a lot of people's fines that come in and vice versa, but what is the deadline for people to resign without having a fee?
Deadline for turning in a contract. Joe, do you know what we?
Let me just pull up.
No, let me pull up a contract. Okay, so, if a teacher terminates their contract after June 15th, but prior to July 1st, liquidated damages is $500. If they terminate after June 30th, but prior to August 1st, it's $1,000. After July 31st, but prior to August 15th, it's $1,500, and after August 14th, it's $2,500.
So June 15th would be
There's the first one is.
The first one is
To the June 30th,
after June 15th, because they have to turn it in by June
by
15th.
June 15th.
That's their deadline to turn in a contract,
Okay.
but prior to July 1st.
But that's why I could say questionable really for quite a while. Any other questions for Jonah on the budget?
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Jonah.
And that takes us to the food service budget report. Any comments or questions about the food service? All right. We have the annual Inglesfield update. Any comments or questions about that?
I just want to say that I didn't realize that Tom was involved in starting all of that. Good job. Thank you.
I think we started one shirt and started on basketball.
Well, it says you and him. Those are the two that are married, so.
The last fundraise.
A lot of breakfast at Christine's, right? All right. Comments about any of the school operations reports?
Appreciate it as always.
Definitely appreciate it. So, that completes the open session. I will take a motion to convene